Sarah believed her marriage was falling apart because of the woman she saw in the mirror, a woman she thought was no longer enough. But when she followed her husband to a secret meeting at a downtown hotel, she realized the problem wasn't her face or her body. It was a secret he'd been keeping for 10 years. Sarah and Mark had been married for 12 years. To the outside world, they were the stable couple. Mark was a successful architect, and Sarah was a talented freelance illustrator. They had a nice home, 2 beautiful kids, and a Sunday morning routine that never changed. But inside, Sarah was crumbling. Lately, whenever Mark looked at her, she felt invisible. He would stay late at the office. When he came home, he was quiet. He'd kiss her on the cheek, but his eyes were always somewhere else. Sarah began to tell herself a story. She looked at the younger women in the magazines and the fitness influencers on her feed. She convinced herself that Mark was drifting away because she had aged. She started spending hundreds on creams, skipped meals, and spent hours at the gym trying to fix the person she thought was losing the game. She was exhausted. Every time Mark was on his phone, her heart would drop. She'd think, is he looking at someone younger, someone prettier, someone who hasn't been through 10 years of life with him? The frustration of feeling unattractive began to turn into bitterness. She stopped laughing at his jokes. She pulled away when he tried to touch her, thinking he was only doing it out of duty. She was losing her husband, and she was certain it was because she wasn't beautiful enough to keep him. Then, the first real crack appeared. It was a Tuesday night. Mark was at work again. Sarah was cleaning his home office when she found a receipt in the trash for a high-end jewelry store. Her heart soared for a second. Was it an anniversary gift? But when she checked the date, the anniversary had passed 3 months ago. And then she found the second item, a business card for a famous plastic surgeon with a time and date scribbled on the back. Sarah felt a cold shiver. Why would Mark have this? Was he planning to tell her she needed surgery? Or worse, was he paying for someone else to get it? The uncertainty felt like a physical weight in her stomach. She decided she couldn't live in the dark anymore. She was going to find out who the other woman was. Sarah didn't confront him, not yet. She wanted proof. She started tracking his mileage. She noticed he was going to a part of town he had no business being in. One afternoon, she saw a message pop up on his laptop screen while he was in the shower. It said, "Are you ready for the big change? I can't wait to see the new you." Sarah felt like she was going to throw up. The new you. It was happening. He was replacing her. She followed him the next Friday. He told her he had a late meeting with a client. Instead, he drove to a boutique hotel downtown. Sarah watched from her car, her knuckles white on the steering wheel. She saw him walk into the lobby carrying a small bag. But then, something strange happened. About 20 minutes later, a woman walked in. She was young, vibrant, and dressed in a stunning red dress. Sarah felt a surge of pure, hot jealousy. There she is, she thought, the reason I'm not enough. Sarah waited 5 minutes, then followed them inside. She saw them enter the hotel's private lounge. She hid behind a large marble pillar, her heart hammering against her ribs like a trapped bird. She watched them sit down. Mark looked nervous. He was sweating. He reached into his bag and pulled out a thick folder of papers. The woman looked at them, shook her head, and pushed them back. She looked angry. She whispered something, and Mark put his head in his hands. What was in those papers? It wasn't jewelry, it wasn't a gift. What happened next made Sarah realize she had been looking at the wrong reflection for years. Sarah couldn't take the mystery anymore. She walked straight to their table. Mark looked up, and his face went completely gray. "Sarah, what are you doing here?" The woman in the red dress looked confused. "Mark, is this your wife?" "Yes," Mark whispered. "Sarah, I can explain." "Explain what, Mark? The plastic surgeon? The new you messages? The hotel meetings with her?" The woman in the red dress started to laugh. Not a mean laugh, but a sad one. "Oh, honey, you think I'm his mistress? I'm a high-stakes debt consolidator." Mark stood up, his shoulders slumped. He opened the folder on the table. It wasn't photos of women, it was bank statements, notices of foreclosure, overdue tax bills. I lost the firm's main contract 2 years ago, Sarah. I was too proud to tell you. I thought if I wasn't the successful provider, you wouldn't love me anymore. I've been working 3 jobs, taking secret meetings to try and save the house. The plastic surgeon? That wasn't for you. I was looking into getting work done on my face because I was convinced the younger clients were passing me over because I looked too old and tired. Sarah stared at him. The man she thought was cheating on him was actually drowning in shame. I stayed late at the office to hide the calls from the bank. I was distant because I couldn't look you in the eye without feeling like a failure. I thought I was losing you because I wasn't successful enough. Sarah looked at the folder, then at her husband. She realized they had both been fighting the same ghost. The other woman left quietly, giving them space. Sarah sat down in the chair she had just vacated. She told Mark everything. She told him about the gym, the skipped meals, the crying in front of the mirror. She told him how she was convinced her looks were the reason for the distance between them. They sat in that hotel lounge for hours, finally speaking the truth. Mark didn't care about the wrinkles around her eyes. He was too busy worrying about the lines of stress on his own forehead. They had both been so focused on their own perceived flaws that they had stopped seeing each other entirely. They had a long road ahead. They had to sell the house. They had to start over in a smaller apartment. But for the first time in years, the invisible wall was gone. Sarah realized that confidence doesn't come from a surgeon's knife or a perfect outfit. It comes from knowing that you are seen, even in your messiest, most broken moments. She wasn't losing because of her looks. She was losing because she had stopped letting him see her heart. In our relationships, we often project our own insecurities onto our partners. We assume they are judging us for the things we hate about ourselves, our age, our weight, our status. But most of the time, they are fighting their own internal battles, terrified of the same thing, not being enough. Don't let your self-doubt build a wall between you and the person who loves you. Confidence isn't about being perfect, it's about being brave enough to be real. You aren't losing because of your looks, you only lose when you stop communicating. If you found out your partner was hiding a massive secret to protect their pride, would you have stayed to fight with them, or would the lie have been too much for you? Tell me your thoughts in the comments.